Dave, tell everybody out there why you're nervous right now. Actually, let's start out. Why don't you tell everybody about your butt plug?
The butt plug story. All right.
Plug.
All right. Let me go
No,
ahead.
okay, no, honestly, you want me to read the message or I'll just quote it from memory? It said,
No. I'll go ahead and read the message from my friend who gave me permission to go ahead and tell everybody this
oh, he
story.
gave permission, bro? Oh, shit.
As
Thank
long
you,
as I did
friend.
not say where he was from and his name. So, thank
Thank you,
you, friend.
mysterious friend of Dave's. What's up, kid?
Dude, I can't.
Yes, you can.
All right. All right.
What happens when you lose plug,
He
Dave?
says, he writes to me, he goes, Dave, what's up, man? Anytime that someone starts with your name, you know it's good. All right. So I'm like, not much, man. What are you up to? He says, you around anybody? Question mark.
Anybody my secret?
I said, nope, just me in my basement, which is creepy, by the way. But he says, remember the advice that you gave me about 2 years ago?
I hate it when people say that to me because I'm like, no, this anymore.
That my wife and I introduce butt plugs into our relationship and experiment with them.
To put a hat to Dave.
And I'm like, all right, I'm calling you because you probably don't want this on text message or proof that this has been written. He said, thank you. So I pick up the call. It's like, all right, man, what's up? And he goes, so, just letting you know, my wife loves the butt plug. We totally love it. It's amazing. And one day I was searching and found out that, guys can use them too. Duh. I mean, surprised that you had to search that, but all right. Says to me, he goes, so experimenting it with it, my wife's gone. I'm like, okay, that's never a good thing when experimenting when your wife's gone, but keep going. He says, I lost the butt plug. And I'm like, so go find it. No. I lost it in my asshole. What do you do when you lose a butt plug in your asshole?
All right, honestly, if somebody asked me that question, like, go take a shit. But that's probably not the right
Bro,
advice.
I was like, trying not to laugh. I mean, I'm really trying not to laugh. I'm like, what are you doing right now? Like, and he's like, I'm in the crab position. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, so put me on speakerphone so you don't have to.
You don't
He
have to
says
finish
to
the
me, he
story
goes,
anymore.
he puts me on speakerphone and puts me down. And when he bends over to puts me down, you hear it, boink, right off the floor.
So that's what you do is you put your friend on speakerphone and it takes.
It fucking dropped out. Oh my God. Could not laugh any harder. I was like, bro, you okay? He goes, yeah, besides the blood, I'm fine.
Wow,
Lost my shit, bro. Oh
dude,
my
he
God,
did
man.
too. Apparently, well, that's impressive,
Holy
bro.
shit, man. I can't.
That's like the Jesus of the butt plug situation. You just gotta call upon David.
He's like, what would have happened if
Ding.
I didn't get it out? I'm like, well,
Call 911.
you would have you would have got to know the doctors and nurses a little bit more personal than you wanted to. Oh my God.
Dude.
All right, Mark. I'm done.
Oh, I'm glad I was. Wait. I got to Cracker Barrel last night to hear that story. When I got into Cracker Barrel, I handed the phone to my wife and I was like, read that message. She was like, and my kids were like, what? You guys, you don't want to know, but it's really gross. And I started kind of the details to it, and they're like, stop, Dad, don't tell us, Dad, don't tell us.
Dude, I was like, got off the phone with him. I'm like, I have to wait 24 hours before I call him and ask him if I can use this. 24 hours. That's all I needed. It was like 24 hours. Can I get 24 hours before he realizes it's not an embarrassing moment?
No, it's
So
legendary.
I waited until Monday morning to call him and was like, "Hey man, this story is too good. I cannot not tell the story." And he's like, "I know. I was afraid of that." And I was like, "I won't use your name and I won't tell you where you're from and nobody will ever know." I was like, "I won't even tell Mark. It's between him and I, or between you and I." And he's just like,
Whoever
"All
you
right."
are out there, I already know who you are.
No doubt he's listened to this today.
Whoever you are, I know you. Just kidding.
Oh my God. Best story
Okay.
ever.
A lot of Ja Morant right now. No, I'm just kidding. Not the best time for that. But yo, I saw Richard Jefferson talking about it with Malika Andrews, and it was like incredible. Having the conversation, like his kids could be like, "Why would he do that?" Like, I don't know. That's what my kids asked. Like Ja, I was like, "Well, you know that guy who got in trouble with a gun, $40 million? Yeah,
Yeah, wasn't
just
enough.
did it again." And they're like, "Why?" What do you say in that moment? You're like, "I don't know. I don't understand." Maybe, honestly, bro, maybe there's something wrong, like with his mentals.
Well, let's just be honest, man. We talked about this. I mean, we were right up front honest
Well,
about
yeah,
it
we got
in the
concerned
beginning.
about another Gilbert Arenas situation. We did.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, it's one of those things that when you're seeing it, you're looking at it, you're like, well, a young man with a gun, with a weapon, flaunting it around, uh, dancing with it, doesn't really understand the issue with it, right? So when we saw it the first time, I was like, I'm concerned about Ja because if he doesn't understand how big of a deal this is, then it's over. So he goes and meets him, the commissioner. The commissioner obviously thinks Ja gets how big of a situation it is.
There's a little
And I'm
Jalen
telling you
Rose
guys, it was a lenient suspension that he was given. This was not a hard suspension. This was lenient.
It reminds me a bit of like if you get like arrested and they put you on probation. They're saying, hey, if you get arrested, you're gonna get in trouble for the first offense and this offense at the same time. Do you think that's what's gonna happen here? So they're gonna
Dude, I think the only way that the commissioner looks that he can get to him at this moment, 80-game suspension, bro.
80-game suspension. That's a whole season, bro.
I think he may look at it like okay, you know what? We'll give him a 40-game suspension as long as he stays out of trouble. But this is again on the Memphis Grizzlies, and I want to make sure that everybody understands this because the Memphis Grizzlies had an opportunity to take him out the rest of the season, but they decided not to. If you had taken him out the rest of the season, made sure he went to rehab, made sure he had all the other issues that he was under control, this wouldn't have happened.
A lot of things wouldn't have happened. But yeah, you're right. This specifically would not have happened.
And I look at this as a organizational fumble. If they had taken care of it right, Morant would have seen what was the issue with it. He would have never, ever had the situation that he's currently under. And it makes me sad because Morant is one of those young men that I see a huge future with. I felt like he could be somebody in the NBA that we see in 15 years down the road. But how many times have we seen an unbelievable athlete make stupid decisions and derail their careers? And I think about the type of decision this was, and I almost line it up with Latrell Sprewell. When Latrell Sprewell choked out PJ Carlissimo. Thank you. So this is, in my opinion, the same exact situation you got on your hands. Yes, there wasn't a violent act about hands around neck, but this was a slap on the wrist just after, or this was a big mistake just after a slap on the wrist.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, there's going to be a repercussion because, Adam Silver feels insulted, incredibly insulted right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel insulted when I get lied to.
Yeah. And he's like, probably like, you know what? I'm done with this. I gave him an opportunity, and 2 months later, he took advantage of that. So what happens? This next time he's going to learn, 6 months later, he's going to do it again? No.
You gotta. If he had been suspended through the end of the season, he would not have made this mistake. You have to suspend him in a situation where, like, honestly, at this point, Adam Silver has to cover his own ass. He can't oh yeah, this was a problem, and the reason is because he was surrounded by enablers, including like somebody,
Yeah.
the adult in the situation, and say like, no, there's a punishment for this, and it sucks because, I mean, I was talking to my wife and kids about this on the drive last night, and it was like, why is it that a rap gun in a video and it doesn't matter, but then a basketball player does, and it does matter and a big deal, and it really comes down to one thing: corporate sponsorships. You know, like when you're an independent artist, you can do anything you want. But when you have the city's biggest companies, you know, behind your team, then you're in a spot where your actions reflect a lot more than just yourself. And each of the situations, like the question about like how he had the gun, why he had the gun, who he was with, where he was, you know, what time it was, all these things start coming into questions. And then this last video, like just like driving,
A car that's moving with somebody taking a live.
yeah, it
Man,
becomes
this is
really confusing. Like, and because it almost seemed like he wanted to be seen, and it seems weird to think about because how could you really want to? And I gotta stop real quick and shout out everybody in the chat: Tanner, Zaire, Smithsta,
hell yeah, man.
Sammy Dog, Carson. What's up, guys? Thanks for joining us. But like, almost like, okay, you think that losing $40 million is gonna change me, right? It's not gonna change me. I'm still the same me. That's what it seemed like to me. Like, I'm not like it seemed like a reaction specifically to the news that he lost $39 million.
Yeah.
Because it was like, wow, everybody's sitting there thinking, wow, he must have learned his lesson. Watch this. Watch this. Money can't change me. And like, I think a lot of people think money will change you when you get the money, but what about when you lose the money? Will it change you? And he's like,
Yeah.
neither one of these. I don't know. Maybe I'm getting carried away. Thank you.
No, I was
Breakfast.
listening to
Put
Little
on
Baby.
mute for a second.
Yeah, you're good. I was listening to Little Baby, the rapper Little Baby. I like rap music, but I'm more like listening to rappers that are incredibly gifted businessmen talk. Little Baby is one of those guys. And I look at it and I'm listening to Little Baby talk, and he's basically like, listen, the rap game and the gangster game is completely different in the aspect of back in the day, you know, people were, and what Little Baby's doing was using the rap game to get out of the drug world. He's saying that people that are like these rich kids now are using their money to get into the gang world. And I I don't know if I necessarily like understood what he was saying, but I'm watching Ja Morant, and it's like he is an athlete, basketball athlete, and he's acting like he is a rapper, and it's concerning. You know, like I don't
You're right.
I don't know how to explain it except for I just feel bad for the young man because he has not had an opportunity to be taught that this is not the way that you go about with your business. And as much as I want to say that uh you know, well, he could have had the, you know, proper upbringing, like I'm sorry. At what point in anyone's life is carrying a weapon around an okay thing? I mean, I get it. I was born in the 80s, and in the 90s, driving around Oklahoma, we would see, you know, rifles in the back of people's pickup trucks in the windows, you know, and it was just normal stuff like that. But we're not talking about the 90s anymore. You know, we're talking about the 2020s where all these young kids are connected to every single social media app ever. And then on top of that, we've had all these gun shootings in America, and it's insane. So of course there's going to be spotlights on Ja for this. Of course that people are going to look at this and be like, he's disrespecting the kids in America right now. And to me, it's just not, it's not something that I'm okay with at this point. Yes, everybody has their own right to make decisions, but let's just be honest. If Ja wants to go down this road, he's going to be, you know, he's worth $80 million right now, guys, but he could have been worth, I mean, so much more. But he keeps on making mistakes. So instead of being worth,
All right.
you know, 300, $500 million in his course of his contract, he's going to be worth maybe $80 million.
The crazy thing is, and this kind of answers your question, Carson, a little bit, but
What's up, Sammy?
how long until he's out of the league?
Dude, it's his decision at this point. This next suspension is his last suspension before he gets an insane amount.
And I asked my kids, how much do you think he lost from the first one? Got some wild. One of them was
74 million is what I think is my number.
So one of them said $5 billion, just to throw it out there, right? And I was like, no, not that much. But then I started thinking about it. He was on track to become a billionaire before he was 30.
35, yeah.
Probably 30, bro.
You think so?
Yeah.
With the Nike contract coming out soon? Yeah.
So if he could hit $1 billion before 30, you should be able to turn that billion into $2 billion at some point. Like, it might actually have cost him, if he doesn't get this shit together, it might cost him $5 billion. It might already cost him the chance at becoming a billionaire.
No, 100%.
Before he's 40. You know,
100%.
because it's really, really crazy.
The only way for him to revive it or restart his career is, first of all, being traded like Latrell Sprewell was. Get him out, get him to a big city, get him to a new place, let him play his career out there. Because the reality is that we've seen this happen before. Once you get a face, once you get somebody that, you think about Gilbert Arenas, and I forget who the other guy was in the locker room where they're like pulling their weapons on each other.
Yeah, mean, I don't even know his name because I don't think he
was never played again after that.
It was Gilbert Arenas was a $100 million plus athlete, and it was gone, and he earned that shit. It wasn't like given to him. He earned it the hard way, and then it was just gone.
It was gone, and like just insane. They had to change an entire organization's name. You know, like I think it was maybe it had been started being the process of being changed before that. But
I think they were the Wizards back when Jordan played for them in the early 2000s.
Oh, so, they were. You're right. So bullets had been changed. Yeah,
but it definitely touched a sensitive nerve. I mean, same with what's going on right now with Memphis. Like, guys, think about this. Memphis has some of the worst gun violence anywhere in the country. This is not a small deal to have a young superstar endorsing guns. It's not gun violence, but it's sad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sad. Memphis is one of the most difficult places to grow up. And then, like you're saying, you have somebody who doesn't need it. They have all the money in the world, and they're glamorizing a really sad lifestyle. So,
again, it's
appreciate
just
you, Sammy.
It just sucks, man. It sucks seeing how a single player can take such a negative spotlight and put it right on the NBA. Like, there's so much good happening on right now in the NBA. LeBron, the 7 and 8 seeds are.
Let's talk about the good stuff, bro.
And it's just insane to me that it's stuck like this. And I want to throw it before we go talk about the good stuff.
Yeah.
I have this note right here, guys. Bob Myers, man. Let's talk about Bob Myers. All right. So Bob Myers just came out, and I was listening to Woj before we got on. Bob Myers came out and said he, doesn't know if he's going to be back. He's going to take a couple weeks in June after the decision. And the reason is because he's so attached. So attached to these players, and the core of these players. Next steps are going to be difficult. And my point is that
he can't make decisions. That's the problem. That's always been his problem.
He is not going to want to get rid of any of these players. And he knows that he has to tear this team apart because you can't pay $62 million to Wiggins and Poole. You just can't. $62 million is not something you can pay to these guys. And now that's $62 million. You got all these other contracts that are up. It's important that I look at this and I'm saying he really just put himself in the box. Now, whether or not Myers will take the job and blow apart the team or not, that's a whole new thing. But I'm looking at this, guys, and I'm saying, how are you going to take apart this team? What are you going to have to take apart? Are you going to keep Curry? Are you going to keep Clay? Are you going to keep those two and maybe one other big time player and then get rid of everybody else? But here's the problem. Who's going to take Wiggins? Who's going to take Poole's contract? They're $31 million plus each year. So who's going to take those contracts? Well, I got it. You're going to have to trade one of your better players and attach those guys or one of those guys to that better player. It's the only way, because the reality is that you're not going to be able to get in a situation where you're going to be able to trade. And on top of that, how many teams are going to be able to really cough out $70 million? There's not a lot.
The new CBA, bro.
Under the new CBA,
The
there's
number that can and the number who will now just became very different.
very little. So now you're sitting in a spot where Bob Myers might not be able to trade any of these guys,
It's a
except
cop-out.
for Clay, Steph, and Draymond. And you have to keep everybody else. Do you want to be the face of that organization after you trade all those guys?
What would you do? Let's say you're Bob Myers situation and you will not walk away. Okay. So then how do you
First thing I do
yeah.
is I take a playbook out of Danny Ainge's playbook. And he went and got like 5 first-round picks for Gobert.
Oh, you're talking like go Danny Ainge.
I think what I'm talking about is I'm talking about
Dude, that's
Myers
beautiful,
saying,
bro. That's beautiful.
I'm going to trade starting off with Draymond Green, who is my least valuable asset. I'm going to see what my max bound picks I can get for him for. Maybe 2, maybe 3, whatever it is, right? And then I'm going to go trade Clay. I'm going to see what I can get. And after
Bro,
I trade Clay,
why not just keep Clay and Steph?
because you can't.
Why not?
Financially, you can no longer keep Clay and Steph because you can't trade the other guys. You're going to have to show the other guys that they're valuable in order to trade them. And during that time,
okay, you're saying you have to trade Draymond and Clay because you signed
Steph.
Poole and Steph.
dude, tear the fuck out of that team, bro. You have to, man. Listen to me. Listen to me. How are you going to be able to survive? How are you going to be able to survive if you decide that you're going to go with no draft picks, no way of getting any guys to come to your team from the off year? You can't. There's nothing you can do. You're handicapped with that cap space. The only way to do is tear it down. Now, if you get rid of those 3 guys, you're under your salary cap number, and you have 8 or 9 draft picks for the future. And then as these other guys are getting good and you have a chance to understand, is Poole going to be that player that we paid him for? No? Well, now we got to sit here and cough up his shit. That sucks for us. Poole has no tradable assets, man. Who's going to pay anything for Poole? Who's going to pay anything for Wiggins? There's no way of getting rid of these guys with the new CBA. The only way to get rid of these guys is by trading the better guys, and hopefully you can sit there and say, I'm under the cap level, so at least I can have an opportunity to rebuild over the next 5 to 6 years. Because otherwise, you're going to be sitting here in 2 years, and your team's going to be so fucked, you have nothing left. You have nothing left. You're going to be sitting there being like, well, we could have had a pick or 2, but no, we didn't trade any of our players because Steph's so old. Clay's getting there. He's already had issues injury-wise, and Draymond Green is a head case. You got to get rid of these guys while they have value right now.
He's like,
That's why he's having a hard time with it, because he knows what I'm saying is right. I mean, you can't sit there and say, I'm attached to these players, that's why I don't want to come back. Like, if you know that all of them are going to be back next year, you know, like you might be able to keep Clay because of his age. But man, I say you start back over, man. You just say, Steph, I'll try to get you someplace you can go. But, you know, there's a very few teams that have the draft capital that we need.
oh, I mean,
It's a strip down.
it's like your friend lost his butt plug, bro.
When you know, you know.
I'm just saying, it's like, could you imagine, right? Like, look, everybody gives Jerry Krause for what happened with like the Bulls, but they won 6 championships. In the end, the reason they won championships was because he knew you don't trade Jordan and Pippen, send Grant, and I don't know, Steve Kerr or John Paxson or whatever.
Well, Bob Myers built this team around the old CBA.
Yeah, but you know what?
That's the danger of it.
Didn't fucking build this team. Team. Jerry West was the guy that said
when I say
and said you do not draft Thompson. He forced him to pick Klay Thompson. Wanted some other motherfucker. Myers, James Wiseman. Bob Myers is.
That's what I'm saying. This is Bob Myers' mess. Like you can say anything else you want, but who else gave Poole $140 million? Who else gave, Wiggins that massive contract? Who else gave? I mean, we can go down the list. This is on Bob Myers, and he's got to clean up his own mess. But the problem is, I don't think he's
He
going to
won't.
want to clean up his own mess.
No, no.
Like this is to me, like the Warriors fans are gonna be so pissed with whoever has to tear down this organization. And I really, like I said, I hope it's this year, because next year he might be able to get a pick or two for Steph. Because everybody's gonna recognize how valuable picks are, and they're gonna be like, fuck trading picks anymore. You know?
Yeah, I mean,
We have to build players.
that's crazy talk, but you're probably right. At least there's a risk.
And if you want to roll the dice and go for it, man. But the reality is that your payroll is going to be so insane, and then you have
So
no
Blake,
capability of signing any free agents. I mean, what are you going to do?
Just be like,
Let somebody else clean
how
this
many
shit up.
more?
I'm going to go be a GM for a team that can appreciate.
This is all the bad decisions I made, so I'm out.
Oh my god, dude.
So, game 1, we got game 1 tonight.
2 or 7-1 and 8-1, right? Or 8-2.
They're both
8-2.
playing tonight. I'm pulling it up right now.
That would be the West.
Lakers, 8:30 Eastern.
All right. I know there's a lot of people that want Denver out there for the Oklahoma City fans.
Oh, really?
I know. I heard Oklahoma City
Right.
fan the other day was like, I'm rooting for Denver. I hate Lakers so much. I'm
Okay.
rooting for Denver.
I can see
But
that.
I lived in Denver, and I know how people like look at us in Oklahoma City as it's like we're in Denver and below us is Oklahoma City, right?
Mhm.
So I don't like that. I would rather
So you're
root
going
for the Lakers. I'm going for Lakers, man. What about you?
All right, so when you were living in Denver, put up that game where he
Triple double 50, baby.
50-point triple double. He earned the triple double. First one, Oscar. But he also that pass from Steven Adams for that. He knocked the
Game
Nuggets out of the
over.
playoffs with that game, and the fans gave him a standing ovation. I've never seen that happen before. A team gets knocked out of the playoffs, as passionate as that Nuggets fan base was. Fucking standing ovation. That I'm hoping the Nuggets win the championship because those fans have class. Now, they might think we don't have class. That's their mistake. But that's in the end, they've got any of a classic Madison Square Garden game where double nickel or whatever, something happens and the fans are just like tip of the hat because that was. And here we love great performances. And that's what Russ did. And you know, kudos to the recognizing. That's it.
Well, I
The
mean,
other one, bro. Who you- Boston, Miami. What you got for that?
I'm going underdogs on both, bro. I want to see an 8-7 seed championship game, man.
Okay.
I know it sounds weird, but I
it's
like
fine.
the
It's not
idea.
weird.
I like the idea of play-in teams making it all the way. Like, to me, that proves to what I've been saying, and all of our other listeners that have been echoing what we're saying is the play-in game is way more valuable than anybody's really willing to recognize.
Yeah.
And we're seeing it firsthand what's happening, and it's exciting, bro. I wanted more of it. I want to get into it. I want to see what happens when a team in 7-8 seed all of a sudden will make it, because then anybody that's a 7-8 seed or a 10-9 seed, all of a sudden they have this belief, man. They're like, I can do this. We can do this. Great, bro.
Do you think it's for an expansion?
How
We're
much?
good with
How
this
many? This is the problem about expanding it past what it is right now. Okay, so if we expand it any more, then Dallas would have made it, right? And the next team would have made it. So there's only 6 teams in the NBA that wouldn't make it. I don't know, man. That just seems like it would be.
So really, in the first, the like a seeding tournament instead of like an actual.
Well, I mean, I guess if I mean, here's the thing: is how much is the NBA willing to change their direction? You know what I'm saying? Like, are they willing to take it and say, we want to create a playoff environment in this middle of the season playoff way is their way of figuring out, is this going to be something that works for the future? Because I'm curious on that, because is it going to be something that a 10 or a 11 seed could all of a sudden surprise everybody and knock some teams out? I don't know, man. Like, the NBA is proving that they're willing to change with the times, and what that means for the future of it is truly spectacular. I think that there's a lot that's going to happen that's going to surprise us all.
Big game by Jason Tatum. You know, basketball over the last few days, I've been in the process of moving, so that's been unfortunate. But I'm back locked in a good few games. So
Hey, OKC Tanner,
let's
quick
talk
question
about.
for you.
I'm pulling up
Yeah,
some stuff right now, Dave.
I was gonna say is like the lottery is tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, and Mark and I will be on here, or at least I'll be on here watching it live. But I have not heard that we've moved up to fourth. If we did,
I don't think it's happened yet.
I would be screaming my ass off. But as far as there's definitely no proof that that's happened yet.
All right, so who we have? The top six of Connor's big boy. Anthony Black at number 6 from Arkansas. Isaiah Thomas, overtime elite.
I love Anthony
Amen
Black.
Thomas, overtime elite. Those are
Do you
number
do you
4
like
and
the
5.
Thomas brothers, bro?
Honestly, as familiar with them as I should be before I even give an opinion. It's Brandon Miller at 2, Victor 1, and he has Scoot Henderson. So if we moved up to 4, what would you want to do? Did I name the person, or would maybe like a Taylor Hendricks or Jarris
Well,
Walker? Maybe
if we
Kim
moved it to
Whitmore?
fourth,
Yeah.
for me, I'm looking at it like Scoot Henderson would be my number one choice player.
He doesn't seem like he'll be there at 4. He's probably going to be at number 2 or number 3.
I mean,
I don't see him
again,
getting to 4. I just don't.
and I hear you. I don't see him getting to 4 either, but it's
So
Sam
if it's not
Presti, and
him-
we've seen crazier things happen.
So Victor's gone.
I think
and
Brandon Miller
Scoot's
goes
gone.
too.
Brandon Miller's gone. So those 3 guys are off the table.
Well, I
Brandon
I
Miller,
think Brandon
Scoot,
Miller goes
and
too. I think
Victor.
Miller goes too. He's getting too much steam right now. Too many teams are talking about him at 2. So I feel like he goes number 2.
people-
That's why. That's
They're
why.
just-
What's
they're,
that?
They're bluffing. They're all bluffing right now on Brandon Miller.
I mean, that's the thing. There's
He's
so
like
much
a-
shit
he falls
going
like
on in draft
like-
talk shit.
late part of the lottery. I'm probably wrong.
Here's the thing is, if it's not Scoot Henderson, I'm totally with
Frank's
Frank
got it.
right here. Trade back, man. Get an extra draft pick for another year or 2. Get to like
I think
6 or
there's a lot of
7.
value. Exactly, like what you're 7, 8, 9.
Yeah,
all the way
like
through
get to that mid number. A team will overpay for that pick, big time.
So you don't even. You say if you get top 4, don't use it because there's no Josh.
No,
Giddey
I'm
in this
saying
draft.
if Scoot is available, if Scoot
Oh, okay,
somehow
okay.
slips down the list and somebody picks up Amir Thompson or something like that ahead of him, then
right.
I could see Sam Presti picking Scoot. But if he's not available, like I don't. There's 3 guys in this this draft class that I would bend over backwards to get. Everybody else, I would feel like that. This is why it's so strange, is because after 3, it could be one of 6 guys, and I'm sitting here saying I would rather move back and let everybody else fight about it, because I probably still get one of the 2 guys that is on my board still.
You know who I'm really wanting? That's probably not in the cards for us. First of all, I've talked about Nick Smith Jr. I like him.
Any
but
Arkansas player, I'm all yes, give me him. Yes.
It's what's his name's twin? Chris. How is it that Chris Murray is still ranked at 27th on this board? Is he not as good as Kyle? Is he?
He's a little bit slower. He's a little bit less polished as far as scoring than his brother. But here's the thing about it is that, like, I think people compare him to his brother, and that's why he's dropped so far. Because if you're comparing him to his brother, you see somebody that's missing a few things. But if you're comparing him to the rest of the draft class, I personally think he should be picked around like 17, like the Poku spot, like the Trey Man spot, like that's a spot that I look at him at.
That's his brother's name, not Kyle. But so my thing is, Shouldn't his value be increased by what his brother was able to show this year, or is that irrelevant?
It depends, man.
Think about it like
Like,
this: like we were talking about the new CBA, and you're like, it's gonna increase the value of polished rookies, or at least people a bit older and can contribute right away. I would say after watching Keegan play that you got to think Chris is prepared
yeah,
like for the
yeah,
NBA. He's been working out NBA workouts. He's got size. He's got length. His stats aren't bad, although like you're saying, not the best. But 20 points a game. I mean, you'd like him to shoot a little higher than 33% from deep, but 8 rebounds, 1.2 blocks. The nice thing is he's left-handed, which gives you a slight advantage in on offense in the NBA, any league really. But I think that be a real advantage.
sure.
Well, I mean, I hope we get him, but I mean, somebody's gonna be really happy with him. I think.
I think there's no doubt in my mind that he has a future in the NBA. I would love for us to have a second round pick if we had to trade up and get him. I would love to see that because it's just less money guaranteed. Um, I would also like to see us if we had an opportunity to maybe um, pick up like a player. Okay, so let's just say like for shits and giggles right now, we did get the number fourth pick. Then we traded back to a team with the number seventh pick, right? So we dropped 3 spots back. They gave us a 24th pick, 25th pick, something like that, in
Hmm.
exchange. We were able to take that and pick Kyle and Anthony Black. I would be beyond.
Yeah, Chris. But
Like,
yeah,
yeah, you're right. But um,
that'd
Murray,
be crazy. Yeah.
to me, like there's certain values like that I would look at and be like, yeah, that would be totally worth it because, um, yeah, man, it's different money. I think we'd end up losing like $4 million in that process, but to me, that doesn't matter when you get 2 rookies that would be like that.
I love it, bro. All right,
So
so Carson, you're asking about Anthony Black, and the reality is, and this is embarrassing to admit, but I actually don't know Anthony Black's game very well. I've noticed him
he's
climbing the
so good,
draft.
so
Um,
good.
I've noticed that like people will give him like comps to like a Lamelo kind of thing. Um, so you guys tell me, what do you guys think? You think if we got top four that we would go for Anthony Black? Is he the type of like playmaker that we're
Well,
trying to build this
again,
team around?
again, it's that is what I'm saying is that there's so many players at 4 that could go there. Like it could be Anthony Black, it could be one of the Thompson twins, it could be, it could go any way, any direction, man. I've never seen a 4 through 12 pick like this before. Like it's all over the board, all over the board. You there, Mark? All right. Sorry, guys. It looks like he might have paused, went to timeout, internet jail. Um, no, I think that this is going to be a really interesting pick for us. I hope we can move up on it, and the reason I hope we can move up is because I feel like Dallas needs to be punished somehow, and this would be a great way for Dallas to be punished. We'll see, though. I don't know. Like, I think the NBA is changing, so I think that there could be a future for what happens with this team. Um, when I say that, I mean this draft pick out of all the last 3 years or 2 years of drafts, this draft year is the one that I would say we need the most to hit or need the least to hit. And the reason is because you are right when you say Carson is that this pick, even if it was a top 4 pick or number 4 pick, it would probably still the player would still come off the bench. That kind of tells you where this team's at. Uh, this team is still building, yes, but we're at a very crucial situation where um, whoever is coming into this team is going to be coming off the bench. So you're going to have to earn your spot. And this goes back to what I said in the beginning of this year was whatever pick that we have coming from the first round, I still believe it's going to end up being one of those picks that we end up seeing in the future. And it could be one of those guys that go to the G League in the beginning And I'm okay with that. I mean, we saw what the G League does for players that go down there and play and learn the system. So I'm more concerned of seeing that and what can be accomplished like that. Let's see what else we got here from you guys. Maxwell Lewis, lottery at 12. Hey, listen, like I said, there's a lot of different ways, Frank, that this could go. I do think Maxwell is one of those guys that we have to keep a very close eye on. I like his stats. I like what he can do. And I like his size charts and everything else like that. I mean, phenomenal player. So I think it's one of those things where we're going to be looking at. And OKC Tanner, um, somebody should not have traded for Kyrie. That is right, dude. Dallas is fucked, guys. I mean, I want to say that I've never been happier. I mean, as much as I used to watch and appreciate the Dallas Mavericks, I no longer can watch and appreciate, and it just seems wrong to like Luca. So makes me happy that if they don't have Kyrie next year, things are going to be better for us in the West. And it's almost as if they're going to the Dallas Maverick is are going to be in like a semi rebuild if they can't get a good player. So interesting stuff there for sure. So I don't know. I'm excited about this Oklahoma City Thunder team as we're definitely getting to that point where we're starting to see what's going to happen after tonight. Mark and I will have an idea of where our draft pick lands, and then we're going to be starting to focus on the different ideas of what Sam Presti could do, whether a possibility of a trade up could be looking at, possibly something like that. So there's a lot of possibilities that I feel that Sam Presti is going to be looking at, and especially when it comes down to breaking down players and looking at their stats, sizes. We love to scout players, so we'll be breaking down that for you guys when the lottery lets us know exactly where we're going to be landing. So I'm pretty stoked for that. I hope that works out well, and I am hoping that we can get. Listen, again, if we end up with the 12th, I'm happy with the 12th, guys, because there's a lot of movement that we can do. It still has a lot of value. We could trade it. We could keep it. I don't give a shit because it's going to be fun to be able to see how this team builds. But, well, I don't think Mark is coming back, guys. So I think we're good. Is there anything else anybody wants to talk about with the Thunder before we head out? If not, I appreciate you guys. You guys are good. We love you guys. And if you guys need anything, you guys can always reach out. Mark and I love to talk about Thunder or whatever else. We have a bunch of you guys that we stay in contact with. And it's nice to be able to talk to you guys. So, definitely have a good day, and we will talk to you guys soon.